everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to the 90210 podcast, a podcast dedicated, as you know, to showcasing so-called superhumans, those who seek to be seen, heard, and understood. We all have a story. We all are here to share, to inspire, to motivate, and of course, to empower others. And just let me say, it's okay to face challenges. As we all journey through survival, thriving, success, it's a journey. And in every journey, there are challenges. So join us as we today spotlight another rock star who is navigating what I consider to be the mess of life and how she uses her uniqueness to show what you can do, meaning you. So today, as you can see, we have Lesley NASE with us. Lesley is a lovely person whom I've known for a few years. We've never met in person, but
Yeah.
somehow it doesn't make a difference. So Lesley, welcome. I'm not going to say anything about you until you share a little bit about yourself, and then I jump in with questions. So let the viewers, the listeners, know a little bit about you and your story, please.
All right. Well, I live in the US on the East Coast in a little state called Vermont. It's very mountainous uh, in our standards. They're old mountains,
Mhm.
but I love that aspect of it being the rule and very much down to nature. And that's my background is being so connected to the earth. And
Mhm.
at a very early age, I saw energy fields and experienced the power of prayer through my
Mhm.
own younger brother. And part of that was being, I didn't know until later that I had medium talents within that and everything involves. And shamanism was one of those aspects of life that gave me, it felt like coming home. Hearing the drums, hearing the native flutes, that just brought such peace and inner guidance to me. And it was the first journey I ever took with a drum was just so easy.
Mhm.
And that opened up more of the healing abilities and again that touch with nature. I've done animal communication for years. I did hands-on healing with people as well. And it really came down to the coaching aspect later in life after I sold a family business and went online, came full spot, as did speaking,
Mm.
because I think it's important to get out there and be seen and be heard. And part of that is just that I have a birthmark. And, there's many people who would shy away from something being different
Mhm.
about them instead of being, here I am. This is me, and these are the things that I believe in, and what I truly at my core through my life is that inner guidance and that wisdom is what has helped see me through those rough paths
Mhm.
and the pure joy of just living.
You mentioned a few things that I want to follow up with. You mentioned your brother, you mentioned animal communication, shamanism, the mountains. Um, what would you say in those early stages until you heard the drum, until you realized what some of your talents are? What would you say was the biggest challenge up until the point where you began to coach, speak, communicate?
Biggest challenge. I was the middle child of five,
Mm.
and my younger brother was born with spina bifida. And that was during a time where a lot of children who were born with spina bifida didn't survive. He
Oh.
was taken right away, and it was a 3-hour drive, no ambulance at the time. My dad and my aunt, who was an RN, took him to the major hospital in the state
Mhm.
for an operation, life-saving operation that they didn't know whether it was going to live or survive because spina bifida means that you have a part of your spine that's open and
Yeah.
that there's a fluid sac that's outside of the body that
Hmm.
needs to be put back in.
Yeah.
So he was a paraplegic,
Hmm.
and the biggest challenges in life is, I think the minute my mother got the call, she always said that I had 4 healthy children at home. I
Hmm.
didn't know whether he was gonna survive or not. And
Hmm.
because my dad's work, he was up there and was able to be with my brother more often than my mom was.
Hmm.
And they got the call, as she said, and they just said, "Come get your son. He's ready to come home."
Wow.
And it was one of those things of like, she knew nothing. But because we lived in a small town,
Hmm.
and I think the backbone of a farming family is where my folks came from, you just picked it up and you did whatever needed
Yeah.
to be done.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
she has that kind of personality that always curious, always in, okay, what do I do? Here's your instructions. You go home and do this. We had a neighbor that was a visiting nurse who would show up.
Hmm.
We had people in the town who's like, oh, I can help you with this or that. And the acceptance before there was any regulation on
Hmm.
handicaps was
Wow.
there.
Wow.
And he had to go undergo several operations.
Hmm.
And even before that, I want to just preface that grew up in a congregational church, and the power of prayer was something that I watched the energy move. I was not
Right.
an easy kid. I'm moving in the seats. I didn't want to sit on the hard
Yes,
pew,
I
and you'd
know.
be dismissed. I, I love the stained glass windows, but that's about all
Mhm.
I loved about all of this. But the power
Especially when the light comes in, when the sun
Oh
comes in.
yeah, yeah. And you're watching the light
Yeah.
play in this big sanctuary. I mean, today I love going in and to
Hmm.
sanctuaries all over the world
Hmm.
just to look at some of and feel that energy of where they are,
Hmm.
especially in Europe. Um, m- However, when you watch the energy from the power of prayer, it
Hmm.
is like heat rising off of a sidewalk.
Hmm.
And then you start to see colors and you start to see something else. So when my brother faced a real uh, intense, I would say, operation,
Hmm.
the minister and his wife came, and I was pretty young at this time, and it was the first time I'd ever been exposed to anything. And the minister explained that the wife was going to sit in the center of the circle. We were holding hands. We're going to pray for my brother. And
Hmm.
then, and the prayers were going to go to her as a medium, and that energy was going to be shot like an arrow to my brother. Okay, you got the symbolism, you understood what was going on. And as this was being undergoing,
Hmm.
I felt the energy right
Hmm.
away. I mean, it was like having sparks in your hands, right?
Yeah.
That, whoa, what's happening? And when the energy went, I felt within me that whoosh right off through the top of my head that arrow went. And
Wow.
I had no clue at that time what
Hmm.
any of that was
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
where that would lead me eventually.
Hmm. Amazing.
And there's, that challenge
Yeah.
is in that who do you talk to?
Hmm.
Do you
Yes.
say, oh, I've got this going on? And because I was a child who made up a lot of stories and songs, and so it was like a story.
Hmm. Hmm. So did you actually, the way you're describing it, I like the metaphor of the arrow.
Mm.
Um, so you said it was supposed to be like, going through an arrow, but you also said that, and you also said you felt it come through you. So did it look like an arrow?
Not until I felt like that column of light energy is what I felt like.
Uh-huh.
And not until it started to go out the crown did
Hmm.
I feel like there was a point to it. It was
Okay.
not your everyday normal, bow and arrow kind of
Hmm.
thing. No, but it definitely had a point and a purpose as I
Hmm.
reflect back as to where it was going. But I wasn't thinking in terms of,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I'm asking this because when we're talking about those more energetic, woo-woo things, as some people like to say, it's like,
mhm,
well, but you said there was an arrow. Yeah, that's a metaphor. It's like the
right,
energy that goes with it, the speed, the heat, the
yeah,
friction, all of that. Yeah. And so that was the first time that you really sort of realized, whoa, there's something here. And then you mentioned the drums, the shamanism, the
mhm,
animal communication, which, I love all of it.
yeah.
Have you ever been to a powwow?
Yes, I have. Yes,
Okay.
I
Okay.
have been to that. But
Yeah.
I want to back up to when you
Hmm.
talk about, to me, the universe does rise up and give you, it's like stepping stones, right?
Yes.
Something appears and you don't know why. And my first drumming part was actually a drumming tape that I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. Shaman drums. Let's take a look and see. I read the instructions. I laid down on the grass outside in the sunshine.
Hmm.
I put on the headphones and I listened to that.
Hmm.
And it was like, whoa. But the first time of actual being instruction was through some people who were teaching shamanism in
Oh,
the area. And it was like a welcome here. We're going to tell you more about this. And then you sign up for, our class. And
yeah.
that's what took off on that. As far as the animal communications, I've always had animals. I've
Mhm.
always talked to animals. And I've had people look at me and, because I talk out loud
Yeah, of course.
and were like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, that cat.
Yes.
That
Yes.
cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not yours. No, but I answered it.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. I could throw something else in there, but yes. No, I talk with the animals as well. I mean, it's just natural, you
It
know.
is natural.
Um, but you mentioned the community coming together.
Mhm.
And of course, you are a transformation catalyst. You work with a number of groups. You've worked with a number of groups and organizations.
Yeah.
I believe you help out, for example, at your local library and other
Mhm.
things. When it comes to community, how important is community to you, and how do you see it working in the world today?
Oh, great question. I went, I'm going to say that when I sold the family business, that I had a great community that was around me at that time. But
Hmm.
when I sold the family business, we physically moved to the northern part of the state. So community was not there as much, except for a few really close friends and who some share deeply and some like, yeah, I love what you do. I don't know how you do it. So community and finding those like-minded people and the shift of the change of the world in general, that's what
Hmm.
the online has helped with. But as
Okay.
a very basic core of community, I always felt it was you make the changes in life right where you are.
Hmm.
I know there's the ripple effect that goes out and to everywhere. So you keep
Hmm.
talking, you keep putting things out. As a former teacher, it was like you plant the seed,
Yeah.
you hold that space, love and compassion.
Hmm.
And libraries are huge in my life. Reading has always been like a gateway to things that I didn't know that opened things up, the imagination, just all of that. So to give back at the community means that I'm making a greater difference right where I am,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
still ripple out other places and other ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. There's a follow-up question I would like to ask. However, looking at the time, we do have to take a little break to hear from our sponsor, 90210 Enterprise. We're going to just take the short break. We'll be right back. And everybody who's listening or watching, just check out the sponsor, and we'll be back in just a moment with Lesley NASE.
Welcome to 90210 Enterprise, where your dreams take flight. Join an exclusive community of over 20,000 professionals, unlocking access to world-class business consulting and powerful networking opportunities, with expertise spanning 12 specialized sectors, including network, business and ventures, real estate, finance, and more. Choose from our tailored access plans, corporate access and executive access. Unlock exclusive benefits of corporate and executive access, including a 30-minute orientation with Dr. Natalie Forest, Executive Director of 90210 and President of the Media Vertical, and a 45-minute consultation with Ashkan Tabibnia, Founder and CEO of 90210 Enterprise for Corporate Access members. Executive Access members receive a 30-minute consultation. As a member, you enjoy access to special opportunities to expand your reach, participate, and collaborate with our partners, such as Vire and Depeche, and have your message be shared globally. Are you ready to turn your dreams into reality? Join us today and experience the difference. Contact us at 90210enterprise@gmail.com.
And welcome back to your 90210 podcast, where we showcase unique, creative, and diverse humans who are living their legacies today. And as you've already heard, and as you see again on the screen, we've got Lesley NASE with us today, transformation catalyst. And so before the break, you shared some personal stories on how you came, I'm going to say, to know or in touch with some of your gifts and talents, explored them further. And we were just talking about community just before the break, and the idea of giving back. To you, community, including the ripple effect, what would you say is a perfect community for you?
What is the perfect community for me? Wow, I don't know if there's a one size fits all for that answer.
Okay. Hmm.
Um, and the reason why is that yes, someone who is just discovering their own talents, their own abilities, and they're like, I want to know more. Those are some of the people who have reached out to me and said, I want to work with you as a coach because I
Hmm.
want to know about me. I want to know, how do
Hmm.
I use this energy that I'm feeling? I don't understand what it is.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect place which I know that I shine because I can hold that space for
Hmm.
them. I
Hmm.
have that ability to, I don't know if I necessarily would call it a mirror as much as turning the phrase when it comes to communication. When someone is talking to you, it
Hmm.
is like, this is what you're saying. Look at it
Hmm.
this way.
Hmm.
Can you see what spirit may have brought you?
Yeah.
And to allow them those aha moments in time.
Hmm.
People who enjoy speaking. That's one of the reasons that in a small area where I live, I don't have the big city connections,
Yeah.
which doesn't mean anything in some
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
So, in speaking, and it helps me to focus on my own speaking and my own signature talk, I
Hmm.
joined Toastmasters
Yeah.
just so that I could physically do that and be
Hmm.
prepared for when someone says, hey, I want you to speak to my corporation. I want you to speak to, this. spiritual group, or, you
Hmm.
know, we've got some kind of conference coming on, because I talk about intuition and I talk about your own inner guidance. And at this time, that's what I feel is more important for people to find their own, and the word is out of my head. But what is your own divinity, your discernment?
Hmm.
Because we've given our power away to so many others,
Yes.
but to have that support, even when it comes to prayer, we're
Hmm.
all out there praying, but the power of prayer is within a group, within a
Yes.
community. And
Mm.
that's been proven by the power of prayer happens to be, or the power of eight is a book that was like, oh, yeah, the scientific background. And there's a lot more science to this than people realize.
Yeah. I mean, it's been scientifically proven that you can feel the energy, right?
Right.
So there's no big mystery to it if we allow ourselves to see that. Um,
Right.
the reason, or part of the reason why I'm asking about community so much is because number one, you've got your community up there, you've got the speaking community, you've got the coaching community, and you also have a, I'm going to say, a deep connection
Mhm.
with the cycles of the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Because moon spinners sounds to me like a community.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but Moon Spinners Enterprises, the idea of, you and I talked about this walking your rainbow, going with the
Right.
flow of the cycles of the moon. And
Mm-hmm.
I think this year, particularly, I probably paid more attention, but I keep hearing the term supermoon, supermoon,
Yeah.
supermoon. And maybe I didn't pay enough attention previously, but talk to me a little bit about moon spinners and the importance of the moon for you, please.
A lovely topic. I do. Yeah, I've always been fascinated by the moon. And I was thinking in my signature talk about how to illustrate some of that.
Hmm.
And it came up with when I was a small child living in this great big house built in 1809 that
Yay.
had a lot of energy to it, and you know the past, how it'd been reinvented, and knowing
Mm,
I had a corner room with two windows. And my specialty, you know, I couldn't wait for the moon to be full because it lit up everything within the room, right? And when you
hmm.
can light up everything, you see what's there. And the opposite is true as well. When the moon is at the darkest, there's the shadows. And as a young child in a uh, railed, it was a iron bed
Mm,
that was
hmm.
up high.
Hmm.
I didn't want to put my feet down on the floor in the dark. I
Mm,
didn't know what was there.
mm,
And the darkness of the moon is the same of that feeling of what is hidden within us.
hmm,
What fears, doubts, and phobias might be there, those gifts that are there, that what are we hiding?
hmm.
And so little by little, the moon comes out of the darkness, and you get that first new moon, that crescent moon, where you can, you know, write your moon papers, your intentions, what's going to
Hmm.
come in. And we've got at this recording within, I have to think of like 2, 3 days here, will be the full moon. So
Yeah.
what is illuminated in your life?
Hmm.
And I was captivated by a book, and I believe it's called Moon Spinners itself. It was a tale that was a mystery, yet within that tale, the author told about the legend of the moon spinners. And
Hmm.
I am trying to look up this Greek legend and find out, is this real or not, or is this the author's imagination?
Yeah.
But the author captured me so well and talked about the three women, which, of course, in mythology, when you have three women, especially, I mean, you're covering all the wisdom and the
Mm,
guidance. and the feminine aspects, which the moon is. And here they sit along this beautiful lake, and at the dark of the moon, they pull up from the lake the energy and start to spin into that first new moon, that first crescent that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep spinning until that moon becomes full. And once it's full and illuminated, then they spin it back down and it
Mm-hmm.
gets washed and clean within the lake and sent back up to sparkle. So it's a connection between the heavens and the earth that's
Mm-hmm.
there, which is so true when it comes to the moon. We as women know that our cycles happen to coincide with the moon. And when
Mm-hmm.
women get together, their cycles sync together
Mm-hmm.
and they usually follow the moon, and that's the ancient traditions as
Mm-hmm.
well, when women would go off for their moon cycles.
Right.
And so there is the waves. There's so many aspects
Mm-hmm.
of that. And then the rainbow that you mentioned. Think about when you're in full light and what are those colors that you see? And I feel like life is the stepping stones.
Mm-hmm.
So the colors are all frequency, and one step leads to another, and they're frequencies that are in the rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
And you can climb up or down or move into one mood or the other.
Yeah.
It all affects us in one way or the
Mm-hmm.
other. And right now, at the time of this, I'm going to geek out a little bit. It just happens to be my birth month, and it is a time where there's a lot of planets. There are 5 planets that are aligning toward the end of this
Mm-hmm.
and coming to the winter solstice. The winter solstice is a time for me that I just feel like that's the biggest celebration, a
Mm-hmm.
very natural earth-based type of
Yeah.
celebration. So it was like an easy fit for
Mm-hmm.
me and still is. I know I got excited and carried away and
No.
but I also see, the here's the bridge to that because we talk
Mm-hmm.
about the rainbow bridge when it comes to animals
Yes.
and the mediumship that I have done over the years, especially in the shamanic tradition,
Mm-hmm.
is to help some of those spirits move on
Yes.
or to check. It's one of the biggest things that people used to call me for was and not just animals, but people, are they
Yes.
okay? What
Mm-hmm.
happened on the other side? All of that aspect of it. It's not a big part of the work that I do at this time, but it's always part
Yes.
of what we do in
Yes.
life. And when it comes to the coaching that I do, I bring in progressed moon
Mm-hmm.
into, I look at the astrological, but I look intuitively at all aspects of numerology, your birth. I may even look up your human design,
Mm-hmm.
all of that aspect, because it gives you a greater picture to where you
Mm-hmm.
are, a snapshot. And a
Right.
progressed moon is a cycle of 2.5 years. So
Mm-hmm.
what that means is I'm Sagittarius. I don't know what you are, but those are the aspects that you're born with. But
Mm-hmm.
every 2.5 years, maybe in the Gemini. So there are different energies that are within me. And it's kind of like going, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I feel the way I do, because
Mm-hmm.
that energy doesn't quite fit me when
Right.
I think that this is what the path.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. No, it is, it fits perfectly with the energy that you mentioned, community, the drums, animals. It's all earth.
it
Just gonna
is
call it
very
earth
much.
with the sun and the moon. So it does fit absolutely. And I love when you talk about it. Because you can see the passion and in your community, it may have been easy to establish yourself and to share who you are and what you do. A lot of people, of course, struggle with that.
Right.
They struggle with saying, yes, I'm a medium, or I want to be an architect and not an accountant, whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And therefore, this is sort of like my bridge to the last official question that I want to ask you. And you started out earlier by saying, making a reference to your birthmark.
Hmm.
Okay. And I believe that one of the talks that you often do has to do with smiling,
Hmm.
which to me is community. Instead of getting
Right.
upset at somebody, you smile at them and that ripple effect. So when you talk about a smile speaks volumes, well, what do you mean?
It all goes back to my childhood again.
Mhm.
And the fact that when we are unique and we are different, people look,
Mm-hmm.
and they may look at you and then look away, and then they go, wait a minute, something's different there.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter whether you have a birthmark or a birth defect or anything, your energy can be so huge
Yes.
that it makes people draw in and come
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
But it is the smile that I learned as a small child when I got upset about people staring at me that my mom quickly said, did you forget to smile at them?
Mm-hmm.
And that smile is something that is an energy in itself.
Yes.
Because when you look people in the eye and you smile, or when you're talking either on a podcast or radio and you've
Mm-hmm.
got a smile and a way about
Mm-hmm.
talking,
Yeah.
that draws people in. They're like, wow, I want to know more. They want to lean in. And
Mm-hmm.
it is our experiences that do help people relate to what it is. And community is huge. And the one thing that I didn't mention is I do am part of 90210 community.
Mm-hmm.
And that is important because there are times where when I talk about coming from a small state,
Mm-hmm.
the world is not small as you think.
Mm-hmm.
When you open up to the greater world, the diversity within the world, to different cultures in different places, it is like, wow, there's so much more going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you find that you have more in common with other people from other cultures, other walks of life, other experiences that you didn't know you had before. And
Mm-hmm.
so you resonate with them. And
Mm-hmm.
that's part of what do is help people resonate and have a shift within them
Mm-hmm.
so that they can walk their own walk, talk their own talk. And like you said before, somebody grows up and say, oh, parent says, oh, you're good at this, or you're going to do the family
Right.
business, or
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
whatever. And that's not what your heart and soul is at.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yet you don't know how to speak up and move forward to where your heart and
Right.
soul is at.
Yeah.
And you're so needed. Everybody, you're so needed
Exactly.
to walk
Yes.
your
Yeah.
talk and be embodied in your own uniqueness.
Yeah. As Oscar Wilde says, be yourself because everybody else is already taken.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
don't need clones. We don't need doubles.
no, no.
Awesome. Thank you, Lesley. Final question. The one piece of advice that you would give to anybody listening now, later, anybody who you see on the street in order to feel that resonance you just mentioned, or to arrive at that resonance, that alignment within themselves. What is the one piece of advice that you would give them?
Hmm. The first thought always comes to me is breathe. We don't take time to stop and
Mm-hmm.
just breathe. The other part of that, take off your shoes and put your feet on the ground and then breathe
Mm-hmm.
because your feet, there are energy points in the bottom of your feet that do interact with the earth itself, and the earth is always sending up energy all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And it's again, it's nature. It's a not nature, but indigenous cultures all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
We're barefoot.
Yes.
They could read more on the
Mm-hmm.
lines of the earth than we do in our rubber soles.
Yes.
So breathe, put your feet on the ground, take time for you.
Mhm. Awesome. Thank you. I couldn't agree more. So I can't argue. I can't add any questions. I couldn't agree more. So, Lesley, where can people reach you if they do want to reach out to you?
LinkedIn is the best social media in which to
Mhm.
really reach out to me.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So LinkedIn, Lesley NASE, easy to find. I found her, so easy to find. Thank you so much, Lesley. There's a lot more to talk about, probably in a future podcast. We're trying to keep a little bit of a time here. So I want to thank you first of all for your time. And please, everybody, feel free oh, that's my telephone. That's the sign. See? So we are out of time, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Please check in with us again. And please also subscribe to our channels. Thank you, everybody. Bye.